For those of you unacquainted, bodybuilder Larry Wheels has been accused of being a cuck in the recent time that's been passing. And I mean, let me just say, Larry Wheels, he kind of looks like a big guy and doesn't really look like the type that would be on that IDub shit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Ian's sparring partner actually does both of our hair.
But a video surfaced recently depicting his wife and some UFC wrestler. I'm not really remembering his name right now, but she's clearly eye banging the shit out of him. And typically a situation that would be sort of swept under the rug, not really bothered with a ton, but due to the way that they've now used this attention, it is garnering a lot of views, a lot of notoriety, and people are weighing in their 2 cents on the drama. And it is quite unfortunate, honestly. Some people regard Larry Wheels as a king. Personally, I mean, he just looks like he's sauced up to the gills. He has suffered a couple of injuries. I believe he tore his bicep. And I think another thing that was noteworthy was the fact that he had been dropping hundreds of thousands on cam girls, which is some pretty interesting behavior on his part. I count that as necessarily FL. I don't know. Cam girls are kind of up there. If you were to make a tier list of, I guess, cheating, that would be pretty close to the real thing. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, in the video, it features her kind of just I fucking the shit out of the UFC fighter, and it's kind of unfortunate. But then it is addressed afterwards, and he claims that he's very confident in the relationship, and she is in no way into Rampage. Rampage, I think Jackson. I don't know. I mean, you could assume that that clears it up, right? But no, they're choosing to use this as an opportunity to sort of parade around, show it off, kind of have everybody giving their 2 cents on the whole situation. I believe there was some short guy kind of disrespecting Larry Wheels, which honestly, Larry Wheels to some degree has been asking for it. The guy himself, I believe, is a fighting influencer. Short guy, dreads, little weak beard, not really a good looking guy, in my opinion. But he seems like he has sort of a short syndrome issue in his own brain, kind of some compensation going on, if we're going to be totally honest. But Larry Wheels slapped the shit out of him. And I mean, it hurt him a little bit, but you'll see him later on probably if you keep on scrolling, which I do not recommend. But he gets knocked by, I think he was the manager of Rampage Jackson again, now that I know the guy's name. But regardless, most recently they went on with Clavicular, and Clavicular gave in his 2 cents. I think Clavicular is an interesting person, as I've already made a video on that. Ding! But in that video, or that whole stream, the highlights that I saw, it looks like honestly Clavicular gives a little bit of a shit, and he's kind of telling Larry that there's a couple double standards going on, which is not the hardest thing ever to say, and I think Larry Wheels respected him for stating those opinions. However, the wife sort of did a lot of backpedaling on her own part. And another, I guess, input that some people gave was the fact that if she was a Christian girl, modestly dressed, looked right, not looking like she's a woman of the night, then people would not be approaching her the way they are. This short king, whatever his name be, he himself is sort of abusing the fact that she's out and about like that. Larry Wheels doesn't put up with it, but at the same time, it's on a stream, so they all consent to being there to some degree, and they're all there to be creating content and make sort of everything that they can go viral, which is just interesting. I've already come to the conclusion, though, if he is a cuck or not, and sort of wait. Actually, I just really realized there's also those files that came out about Larry Wheels. I think it was an ex-girlfriend. He's got a couple of issues. You could say online that he maybe is into some not super normal activity as a cis male. He ain't white, but that doesn't matter. I just almost called him a cis white male. But hey, the game theory right here. But he might be on those steroids, just maybe a little bit, and that could be affecting his own sexuality. I hear a couple times that it can affect how you interact sexually. Hyper or making really difficult normal sex or sexual activity hard and just difficult to do. And it can affect a person in a way that they need things that are more stimulating, more taboo, you could say, or fetishized. For example, cookery. And he might just be really into that. And I mean, I'm not going to judge him, He's able to have the fetish that he wants, but if he wants to say that he's not a cuck in any way, shape, or form, then I think he might be grossly underestimating who he is or what he is as a person. And I don't think it does question his manhood to some degree. I mean, would I put him up there with iDubbbz? It's close. She doesn't have an OnlyFans, at least that I know of. But I mean, the goods are out. People are checking it. And I mean, if he's going to slap the shit out of people that are going to disrespect that, he might also have to just reassess if she's encouraging that sort of activity. and if that's necessarily considered faithful. But on the same end, Larry Wheels said he has a problem with cam girls. I don't know how prominent it is now. He sort of addressed it in a manner that said that it was a problem, which is good to some degree. And if he continued to remove that from his own life, then he's just improving as a man. But at the same time, if he just continues and doesn't change anything about it, then he's no better than he was before. And I mean, if a guy like that is going to complain about what people are doing now, sort of just makes this whole double-sided situation. He's not willing to commit on either end. And when he's called a certain thing, I mean, it's an insult to his own pride. And he's sort of going to feel a need to fight against that. But if he's asking for it, then it should be addressed. So conclusion would be, he is a cuck. Another game theory that's getting thrown around is the fact that maybe this is all staged. Maybe this is all been played up because Larry has been falling out of relevancy since, I mean, he used to be breaking records all the time, I believe, and he's a strong person, and he's usually on with big people. You know, Togi was making his waves. But there is a chance that this is all fabricated, that people have all agreed to do this. Rampage Jackson and Larry Wheels seem to be working closely on all of this, sort of streaming together and making sure that they're always around one another, just to sort of profit off of this whole situation, which is totally okay from a content creation standpoint. I mean, if I had a platform like that and I had an opportunity to make a little bit of money like that, a lot of money I'm talking about, then I think I'd be inclined to. But yeah, conclusions. Clav appears to be mature sometimes. Larry Wheels is a cuck. His wife potentially is a little bit of a easygoing woman. And Greg Duchette is totally profiting off of this again, and he is really good at it. So give me a little bit of that money, Greg. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe down below. I will be hopefully making more videos. But yeah, I'll see you guys later.